Craig Sutton, United States Representative for Fishing NOSARA, and welcome to the Discover Project. During the repair, refit, and the conversion process, we're going to do a ton of fiberglass work on it, a lot of work to the tower, some structural work to the very back end of the transom, and then the installation of the bracket, tuna tubes, fighting chair, and all the weapons we need to go pursue the biggest, meanest, baddest fish in Costa Rica.
Meet Craig Sutton. Craig Sutton is the founder of NOSARA Paradise Rentals in NOSARA, Costa Rica, and also operates the most prestigious charter fishing fleet in the country. Fishing NOSARA has built a reputation as the best fishing outfit in the entire country of Costa Rica. Craig has fished his whole life, and in 2010 caught the largest black marlin in the history of inside sport fishing television. Recently, he was named top angler in the 2012 Ship of Fools tournament in Garza, Costa Rica. Craig built his first boat at age 11, and he's never really stopped. His first public boat build, the Wanderer, garnered national attention and propelled this boat to celebrity status before it even hit the water. The Wanderer established herself as the dominant boat in Garza in 2010 and continues to lead the Fishing NOSARA fleet in number of marlin releases and overall trips. The Fishing NOSARA build team must draw upon the lessons learned from the Wanderer while striving to improve this already formidable fishing platform.
Captain Craig, good morning.
Morning, guys. How in the world are you?
Well, that's outstanding. Now tell everybody about the Discoverer. That's going to be your new boat.
That's our new boat going to Costa Rica. It's another 30-foot T-craft. We're going to repair it, refit it, and convert it from a single-screw Cummins diesel boat to a bracket outboard four-stroke Yamaha boat.
And so it begins. On June 15th, the Fishing NOSARA build team met at Fort George Island Marina, where Captain Jack Weinman and Matt Jorn drew the difficult task of removing the inboard diesel power plant. The biggest challenge in removing this motor is accessing the 8-footer bolts, shown here already removed. Now let's see what Jack had to go through to get those loose. Jack had to weasel his way into tiny spaces to attack these rusted old bolts with everything he had. Wrench extensions, PV blaster, a 5-inch cheater bar, and just good old-fashioned elbow grease and bloody knuckles is what it took to remove these 8 bolts. Equally challenging is the removal of the collar bolts that attach the propeller shaft to the transmission. Let's take a look.
All right, collar bolts, go. There's the satisfying sound of breaking something.
Yes. It is.
All right, 7 to go.
7 to go. We got it. We got it.
Oh yeah, that's on. It's on there.
Notice that as Jack twists these bolts, the propeller wants to rotate the opposite direction. He solves this by cramming this box-ended wrench up against the housing of the transmission, creating a natural assist in the torquing of the bolt. If this hadn't worked, we were standing by with a Sawzall, a circular grinder, and a set of torches to cut this thing loose, but that would have added hours to the project and could cause damage to the internal structures of the hull. This is one of the many times on this project that having an ASE certified master mechanic with 20 years of experience on your team is definitely a good thing. With the motor free and the transmission collar disconnected, it's time to hook up the chain and call in the big dog. The guys at Fort George Island Marine have this beautiful forklift with 35-foot forks on it. This thing routinely lifts giant boats out of the water, so it'll have no trouble pulling this motor. Definitely an improvement over the last time we tried to pull a motor using only a flatbed truck with a winch. Even with this massive improvement in lifting capability, these are boats, and there are always things that go wrong. The motor mounts were still a bit stubborn, so Jack used this pry bar to apply some pressure as the fork lifted. Everybody hold on tight for this one.
Up.
It's a good thing Craig wasn't around to see that little move. Fortunately, the boat and the motor were unscathed and everything worked out just fine. I can't say enough about how much we've been helped by the crew at Fort George Island Marina. These guys were very patient with us and the mess we created by pulling all this oil and grease out of the water. Cage, Mike, and Marcus are all great with the forklift, plus they found this engine cradle for us to use. Our buyer is shipping this motor all the way back to Massachusetts, so it's imperative that it be safe and secure for the ride home. Jack utilizes a 2x4 to make sure the motor sits in its best center of balance and lays out some oil-absorbing speedy dry to keep the mess to a minimum. 2.5 hours from when we began, this motor was cleaned up and out of the boat and ready for delivery. All that's left was to pull out the propeller shaft and a few other pumps and diesel fuel regulators and other little knickknacks that we're certainly not going to need once this boat's an outboard. The buyer was very satisfied with his purchase, and we were incredibly grateful to have him come along at just the right time. We've also made great friends over at Fort George Island Marina, and sadly we're going to have to say goodbye to them soon, as the Discoverer gets loaded up and brought back to her new home at the Fishing Nosara World Headquarters in Jacksonville, Florida. We've placed our order for a 30-foot Magic Tilt trailer, and once we receive it, we'll be back with another episode of the Discoverer Project.